importantly, we're going to make sure that the voices we heard from this election for the American people are acted upon.
CNN senior political reporter Monica Raju and CNN
earlier today, Paul Ryan has said that the Republicans are taking Trump's win as a sign that they need to go bold and furthermore to almost force through their agenda no matter what it is, which really has me concerned. As a socialist, as a usual Democratic voter, I voted for Jill Stein this year because I did not trust that Hillary had the concerns of average people at heart. But I decided to do a daily draw today with my tarot cards, and what I got was not. It wasn't comforting. So I'm using the Sun Tarot, which I've been using for about 2 months now. About 2 months exactly. And I drew the Six of Pentacles. And I'm actually wondering if I am perhaps the only one who has been interpreting this card as meaning uncharitable, in a sense. Because usually the interpretation of for this card is one of charity. It usually portrays, as in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, someone who's extremely wealthy, showering coins onto extremely impoverished people. However, this day and age, we recognize those as scraps, from someone who could do so much more to really help the working class. Those that struggle from day to day. I mean, it's almost impossible nowadays to find a full-time job. No one will offer you full-time hours because if they do, they need to give you benefits, and they don't want to do that. Otherwise, it cuts into their bottom line and their new ivory back scratches that they had their eye on. It makes my heart sink. It causes me to fall into despair, to lose hope. I am just one person. I want to do something to help these people that I see struggling every day, everywhere, all throughout the Midwest and the Rust Belt. I just don't know how I can help them, but I want to. I want to desperately because both parties have essentially ignored them for about 20 or 30 years now. The Democrats used to be the party of labor, the party of the working class, the party of the people. But money got their hooks into them, and they turned around, and we haven't heard from them since. I really hope this election sends them a message to, straighten up and fly right. I really do. Starhawk and others are extremely concerned that this election loss will actually send them the message that they need to become more conservative, because ever since the 90s, the Democrats rather have been drifting increasingly to the right. They're no longer the party of LBJ. They only give lip service now to minorities, even though minorities are struggling so hard. Everyone is struggling so hard, unless you come from money. They're struggling so hard today, and it shouldn't be this way. Not in America, not in the wealthiest country in the world. We have the funds to change this now, but there is absolutely no incentive to do so in Washington. If anyone watching this can give me any ideas or suggestions on how I can um, help those in need, please let me know. There is just I cannot tell you how infuriating it is. um, to see so many people suffering. I mean, to find in some states, to find a full-time job, you have to move. You have to travel out of state from your home. That's ridiculous. You should not have to travel out of state from your home to find a full-time job and then have to drive all the way back. That is ridiculous. That is inhuman. And then I see some people having to work 2 or 3 part-time jobs just to make ends meet. And to feed a family of 6 on $175 a week. Are you kidding me? It just breaks your heart. I cry when I think about these people. It's just not right. Something has to be done. You know, I hear so many of these people saying over and over again. They say to people interviewing them, or to me even, they said, I just can't do it anymore. I just can't. It's, you know, and they're right. They shouldn't have to struggle so hard for just the basics. This is also one of the reasons why I fully advocate for a basic universal income for all people. You know, because the more the technology advances, the more that human hands will not be necessary to perform jobs and duties. We are being displaced by machines, and by technology, by apps. You know, so sooner or later, we will need to find a way to give people money, or else we will have a problem on our hands. You know, that is just the new reality. We need to get used to it, and we need to start adopting more and more progressive ideologies. Even though the Democrats are completely behind the times, I really do, however, praise President Obama that this morning he has actually been censuring the Democrats, saying that, you know, the reason you lost the election this year is not because of racism or misogyny, but because you failed to acknowledge the plight of working people. That they are struggling just to survive. So I really give him kudos for that. You know, that really meant a lot to see that, and hopefully they will take that to heart. In fact, I've heard talk that they're thinking of replacing Nancy Pelosi as Speaker of the party with someone from the heartland who comes from one of these despotic areas. I mean, here in Iowa, it is hard to find a full-time job anywhere. No one is hiring now. No one has been hiring for a very long time. There are just more people than there are jobs available, and something has to be done about that. You know, I'm not, of course, advocating any Nazi ideologies like, you know, sterilization or anything of that foolish, but something needs to be done. We need to give people money, not just CEOs and banks. Give the people the money. They will be able to spend it how they see fit. It will help them. You know, if you give the poor money, it helps everyone else. It helps every sector of society. It helps raise everyone like an ocean. It helps raise everyone as if they're in a boat. It helps raise everyone from the bottom up. You know, this. You know, I'm just at a loss for words. I'm equal parts horrified, heartbroken, and angry. I'm fucking pissed off at the world. And the people we once thought was the party of labor, of unions, of the people of the working class have turned their backs on us. And now they basically have us in a corner. I mean, what are we going to do? We will. They know we won't willingly vote for a Republican. So basically, I mean, that's how Donald Trump won, is because the Democrats contrived to ensure that he would be the Republicans' nominee. I mean, they were giddy over the fact. They thought it was the sure win for Clinton. Well, who's laughing now, Hillary? Not you, I'm afraid. I only mean that slightly sarcastically, because I'm just really angry at the whole fucking thing. We had someone who could have really delivered change. Bernie would have just trumped Trump. There is just no other way to say it. He just would have trumped Trump in every way possible. Yet I see people now still insisting that, well, if Hillary couldn't beat Trump, then neither could Bernie have, which is completely ridiculous. The hypothetical polls showed him creaming Trump by double digits. Hillary was running neck within the margin of error for him, which turned out to be, she was actually losing against him in these matchups. So it's time that they get with the fucking picture. They realize they need to fucking realize that we're suffering here. We need a fucking hand. Help us out. Words cannot express how deeply I feel just the crushing weight of the world anymore. It's just not fair. You put people in office like Debbie Wasserman Schultz, who at first seemed to really do good work, and then money gets their hooks in them, and then they start passing all these laws protecting debt sharks and these payday lending places that really hurt the poor. And then you try and get them out of office, and they start running these attack ads against their progressive opponents because maintaining their power, their position, is more important to them than you are. I swear, if I were in office, I would chase the lenders out. The lobbyists, everyone would have no hope of even meeting me. I would be utterly opposed to all that. My first and final thought of every day would always be the people whom I represent, the poor, the marginalized, the disenfranchised. Everyone would be on my conscience. I cry myself to sleep some nights thinking about it. How greatly so many people are needlessly suffering when they don't need to. It's sometimes I think that I can't do it anymore. I just don't have it in me to struggle so hard against a political wave that is backlashing against me, fighting against me, fighting against these progressive values that I've held my entire life. That has led me to come out as socialist. When I came out as a socialist, 15 years ago, my little brother almost beat me. He was so upset by the fact, which is just ridiculous. He wasn't even willing to listen to me explain what socialism really is. He just completely closed his mind to it. So those of you who are listening to me, I'm a really good guy. I'm a nice person. I am socialist. So if you I would really recommend that you just look up socialism. I really want to try and see what it is, and if it fits you, it fits you. If it doesn't, it doesn't. It doesn't mean that you are, a traitor against the U.S. or anything. In fact, back in the 40s, during the crash, the depression, FDR actually went to the wealthy at the time and said, "Hey, if you do not let me tax you at like 80-90%, or actually he wanted to tax them at 100%, but Congress wouldn't let him, so he only got to tax them at 90%. But he said, hey, if you do not let me tax you at this enormous rate, the people are coming. The peasants are revolting. They are at your door with pitchforks and torches, and they will kill you. Literally, they will kill you." So to save their own skins, they agreed to FDR's demands, and afterwards, after the markets rebounded, and after people were much better off, the wealthy actually engaged in a horrible nationwide smear campaign against socialists. Actually, they first went after communists because they were the easier party to pick off, and then they went after socialists by likening socialists to communists. And that's why most Americans think that socialists and communists are the exact same thing. When, if you go to any European country, most people there know that no, they are not the exact same thing. I mean, I've heard poli sci teachers, baffled by the fact that their students have no idea that socialists and communists are different. They just think they have, stupid students. But in fact, it's just a cultural thing that was imposed upon us by the wealthy ruling elite in this country, generations ago, and it's stuck. No one has dared to challenge it since, because if you do, you are labeled as being un-American.